Hello, welcome back to JankTech. It's my series on Star Wars Unlimited where we talk about twin suns, alternate formats, fun, cool card interactions, nothing to do with the meta. Django who? Yeah, I mean, like, even I can't escape the fact that Django's been all over, like, everyone's thoughts recently. We'll see what happens with FFG and talking about stuff on Wednesday. But we don't care about that because we are still on our double aspect week here. But before I get started, please, if y'all could like and subscribe like Bova over here is asking, I would appreciate it so much. People have been watching these, commenting, talking about Star Wars. I've been loving it. And if you want to continue to talk about Star Wars, we've got a link to the PDX SWU Discord down below, so you can talk about Star Wars with all kinds of people. We can talk about previews, rules stuff, new decks that we're brewing, all kinds of awesome, fun, cool things. All right, so what are we doing this time? Well, it's the last double aspect week deck. What a week it's been. It's been kind of long. But yeah, we're finally to aggression. Aggression is definitely my second favorite aspect in this game after cunning. I absolutely love it. Hero aggression is actually my favorite flavor of it. I was running a sweaty Mace Windu deck in set 3 for a while as my most competitive deck. I had a lot of fun with it. And I've taken some of the DNA of that deck and brought it into here. JankTech, death by 1,000 pings. Oh yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of direct damage here. So what's aggression all about? Hey, I'm glad y'all asked. So the card aggression from, of course, Spark does this. 4 resources, double red, choose 2 in any order, draw a card, defeat up to 2 upgrades, ready a unit with 3 or less power, and deal 4 damage to a unit. Okay, so I know that my command deck didn't necessarily do all of the things that the command card did. I went extra hard in this one with building this deck to be as much aggression as possible all the time. Card draw, not quite as much, but oh, you better believe it defeats upgrades, it readies units, it deals direct damage. There's so much direct damage in here. Like I said, death by 1,000 pings. We are just going to be pinging left and right here. I can't wait. So who have we got as our leaders in this deck? We got the new Luke pilot. As an action, exhaust him. If you attacked with a fighter unit this phase, deal 1 damage to a unit. And his epic action flips on 6 resources, either as a 5/6 with nothing special or as a +4/+5 pilot. This upgrade can't be defeated by enemy card abilities, so he can't be confiscated away, for example. He can't be fang fightered away. He makes whatever he's on a leader unit. If it's a fighter, it gains on attack. You may deal 3 damage to a unit. So we're just increasing the amount that we can ping on something if we put Luke on a fighter. Guess what? There's a lot of fighters in this deck. And then, of course, we have Mace Windu. I love Mace so much. Action, pay 1, exhaust him, deal 1 damage to a damaged enemy unit. Then if it has 5 or more damage on it, deal 1 damage to it. Mace flips at 7 resources into a 5/8 and says when deployed, deal 2 damage to each damaged enemy unit. We want to push the long game in this, and that might mean we just run our units into everybody else's and try to keep the board nice and lean until we can do our pre-Mace flip turn shenanigans, which if any of y'all have played as Mace, it means you want to get as much damage out on everything on the board as possible the turn before you deploy Mace, so you can just blah, 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 board wipe with Mace. Oh my gosh, he's so great. He's just one of my absolute favorites. We're pairing them with Lake Country. Yeah, that's right. This is a monocolor deck. We're using the colorless base here. We get 34 extra health. I think that the more I play with the extra health bases in Twin Suns, the more I like them. I think it screws up people's ability to do math because in this game, you put damage on your base. So we're all used to thinking of, oh, I look at that base, it has 10 damage on it. That means that I need to do 20 more to it in order to defeat that person. Well, you don't necessarily think of that extra 4 damage all the time. And there's only so much that you really need to remind the other person. Yeah, you need to make sure your board state is visible to everybody. But I think in this format especially, the more that you can give people extra information for them to have to think about, the better. So awesome. Before I get into this deck, I wanted to say that this initially had a very different approach. We can see here that I'm on version 20 of it. Oh my gosh. I originally wanted to do this with these two leaders, but with blue, and call it hand hate for those who have hated hands, because, you know, they both get their hands cut off, and red's got all of the discard effects in there. But the more I was testing it and the more I was working out with it, I was like, oh, the really impactful discard cards cost a lot, and I'm not sure if I want to devote this deck to doing that in particular, because there's other stuff that I want to do with it more. I think at some point in the future, probably after the next set comes out and has more emphasis on force stuff, I want to do a force-centric hand hate discard sort of deck. It's not quite time for it, but, you know, I'm going to stick that away in the back of my mind. Lots of force units, lots of discard. I think it'll be real fun. But, you know, for the time being, this is aggression. We're going to be doing plenty of other fun things to interact with other people's stuff. So let's get into it. What do we got? We got 30 ground units. We got Benthic 2 tubes. He's a 2/2 for 1 on attack. Another friendly red unit gains raid 2 for this phase. All of our units with, I think, a very small, like, you know, we got one down here, but mostly everything has got red in it. So if 2 tubes actually gets to attack, chances are he's gonna buff something. Awesome. The Masasi Tactical Officer. This is one of my favorite artworks from the new set. It's a 0/4 for 1, but action attack with a fighter unit. It gets +2/+0 for this attack. It just makes what we're trying to do with this deck better. If we can attack with a fighter and have it buffed, great. Then that enables us to ping something with Luke, which then enables us to ping something with Mace. And this is something actually I didn't even address. Why are these two so great with each other? Because Luke says if you attack with a thing that you already want to attack with, you get to deal damage to something, anything. And then Mace says if something has damage on it, put more damage on it. And also, this is Twin Suns. Stuff's going to have damage on it. You're not the only one putting damage on things. So if you're playing against, say, that Asajj deck that I made for my Vigilance deck, all that stuff's already going to be damaged. Mace is just like, ooh, okay, we can just put damage on everything. So this is just kind of a matter of how much stuff do we want to, like, what needs damage? Do you need some damage? Do you need some damage? Let's sprinkle some damage all around. This is great. And stuff like this enables us to get just a little bit more out of what we've already been trying to do with this deck. And I absolutely love it for that. Got our first double red card. Mr. Bones, I performed Violence. It's just a 3/1 droid on attack. If you have no cards in your hand, you may deal 3 damage to a ground unit. This is great if it fires, but really, Mr. Bones is still a 3/1 for 1 in red. And there isn't a whole lot of 3 attacking for 1 in this game. Sure, he's a little vulnerable, but, you know, it's still a 1-cost ground unit that other people are going to have to deal with. And if we somehow end up in a situation where we don't have cards in our hand, because we are playing a lot of inexpensive space units, so if we get a lot of those, we might be in that situation. So Mr. Bones just says, well, great, we get to pass some more damage around. We got R2. R2! It's either a 1/4 with no abilities or piloting 0, and you can put him on something that already has a pilot and get an additional pilot on that unit. So +1/+1 for 0 on something, likely a fighter. This just means that most of the time, if you are playing with a leader that is piloting, obviously you need to keep one of your vehicles free for that leader to go onto. Well, great. You have R2. You can stick that on one of your fighters, get a little extra damage, and then you can still stick Luke on there. It's awesome. Love the little guy. Also, like, he's got a big butt for a 1 cost. So maybe you just need to have him on the ground just to maybe attack into something. Say your opponent plays something like a Mr. Bones or a Greedo. Well, R2 can attack into either of those and survive. R2 ignoring protocol. You know him, you love him. He's an 80 card Twin Suns hero staple. He lets you filter through your deck. When played and on attack, look at the top card of your deck. You may put it on the bottom of your deck. This is awesome. Like I've been saying over and over with these 80 card decks, you have to be able to get the cards you need when you need them. R2 in here helps you to do that. And I think he draws fire because of that ability, because people realize how useful he is. And the fact that people will have to spend time getting rid of a 1 cost with a 4 toughness butt, then I think that's awesome. That's resources and actions that they are not putting into getting rid of your more aggressive units. Spec Force Soldier, it's a 2/2. When played, a unit loses Sentinel for this phase. Sentinels are king, Sentinels are king. I say it so many times, every single one of these videos. You need Sentinels in Twin Suns, and you need ways of getting around other people's Sentinels. Spec Force Soldier gives it to you. This, even though it's a 1-drop, it's not necessarily something that you want to play early on. You want to save this guy for when there's something really problematic so you can punch through it and win. Notice it doesn't care about the arena. So if somebody plays a Tanty V4, if somebody plays a Redemption, Spec Force Soldier says, nope, that is not a Sentinel. So save this guy for when you need him, and I think he'll richly reward you. Okay, so bear with me on this one. Okay, Stolen Landspeeder. It's one of those cards. It's a very JankTech trademark card. It's a 3/2. When played, if you played this unit from your hand, an opponent takes control of it. Bounty, if you own this unit, play it from your discard pile for free and give an experience token to it. So, in this deck, this is another one of those you don't want to play it on your first turn kind of cards. This is a card that you play after you've already attacked with a speeder unit and you have at least 1 resource left, because that means you can then ping it with Luke and you can then ping it with Mace, and then boom, 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 you've got yourself a 4/3 speeder on your next turn. It's just for a little bit of setup. I absolutely love this card. I don't think it works that well in the vast majority of decks, but this one, heck yeah. And plus, it's one of the, I looked this up actually this morning. There's only 7 speeders in this game, y'all. And so if we want to say, stick Big Starklighter on it, then he can give it the speeder buff, which is just great. But yeah, it's a pretty good card considering it's inexpensive. You just have to do a little bit more work for it. Celestin Spacer, this Let Me Kill Meister looking dude, y'all know I love him. He's just a 1/1 on the ground with no abilities, or he's a piloting +1/+1 for 1. He's not the most exciting, but since this is a mono red deck, I needed to give myself a few more options with making our fighters a little bit better, a little bit more survivable, just a little bit more damage. This guy gives it to us. We have the flexibility to play him as a ground unit if we absolutely have to, but he's just one of those, he's not particularly flashy. He just makes something else slightly better sorts of cards. And honestly, like, I think that's okay to have in this. This is a deck that I think is based less on let's gamble and hope that this one thing is going to play out, kind of like my Jabba Piet deck was, and more like, let's just play a lot of lower cost kind of solid things early on and make those units work for us as much as we can. So you're going to see like a lot of pilots and stuff. Bo-Katan, fighting for Mandalore. She's a 3/3 for 2, y'all. Those are great stats. Also, when defeated, for each player with 15 or more damage on their base, draw a card. That's great. So she's good early on because she's got great stats for how much you pay for her. And she's great later on because you can potentially get as many as 4 cards drawn when she dies. Love that. Oh my gosh. This is actually, I didn't even think of this. This could be kind of cool in a blue Thrawn double red deck. But that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that at some point. Got the Determined Recruit. Look at that little face. He's either a 3/1 for 2 or for 2. He's a pilot that adds +3/+1. Again, we can soup up our fighters with this little guy, or we can just play him on the ground. I think y'all can see a pattern with a lot of the red cards. It focuses more on we want to do as much damage early on as possible. I mean, we're going to be aggressive. Our stats are going to be skewed more towards hitting hard. And having a pilot like this allows us to say either we hit hard on the ground or we hit hard in space. We can get in whatever lane we need to be in. Hey, it's Frisk. He's a 3/2 for 2, which is, again, decent. Or for piloting, you can pilot him as a 2. When played as an upgrade, you may defeat an upgrade that costs 2 or less, and he adds +2/+2 to whatever he's piloting. That's great. That gets rid of shields. That gets rid of experience. That gets rid of, well, if someone else has a frisk on theirs. If someone has a pilot where the cost in the upper left corner of the card is 2, boom, that's gone too. Heck yeah. I think he's really great. Again, aggression is about upgrade hate, and we are going to be hating on upgrades. We do not want other people to have pilots. We don't want other people to have shields and experience. Aggression says, no, you play with what you got. You don't get to add anything else on there. Hopeful Volunteer. We're going to be adding stuff on there. Hopeful Volunteer is either a 1/3 on the ground, or piloting 2 adds +1/+3 to a vehicle. Again, like the Celestin Spacer, it's not particularly flashy, but it makes the ship way better in terms of it turns it into a much more survivable unit, so we can continue to attack with it, because the more times we can attack with a fighter in particular, the more chances we have to do our damage with Luke, which is the more chances we have to do our damage with Mace. Every single thing attacking in here helps everything else. So our ground units, a lot of them, yes, are going to be support for our space units. But you know what? If we have to play with them on the ground and just get some damage in before late game, where we can start doing massive amounts of damage across the board, so be it. Jyn Erso, Stardust. She's a 3/2 for 2, which is pretty good. While an enemy unit has been defeated this phase, this unit gets +1/+0, so 4/2, and gains Saboteur. Again, Saboteur, so good in Twin Suns, gets past Sentinels. It's highly likely that enemy units will be defeated at some point during a phase, so we just got to hang back with Jyn Erso, not attack with her until we absolutely can't help it. Another thing that Red does that doesn't necessarily come off on aggression, because honestly they can only squeeze so much on there, is Saboteur. If you want Saboteurs, this is the color for you. That's part of being so aggressive. We want to slip past people's shields. We want to slip past people's sentinels, well, and their shields, and just hit who we want when we want. Again, Ketsu Anyo, old friend. 3/2 Saboteur, nice and aggressive. When she deals combat damage to a base, you may defeat an upgrade that costs 2 or less. So just like Frisk, you hit somebody's base, you kill somebody else's shield. You hit somebody's base, you kill someone else's experience. You kill somebody else's determined recruit. You can just do so many things with Ketsu when you need them. So I feel like some of these units are kind of like they're kind of like tools in a toolbox. You know, we say we need Ketsu to do this. We need Frisk to do this. This thing's a problem. This is great negotiation fodder at the table. So you can say to somebody, hey, I won't attack you and I'll get rid of a shield, but then that means that you can attack this person. And it gives you some good temporary alliances, I think, which I really like. Partisan Insurgent. It's a 1/4. Well, you control another red unit. You're going to control another red unit. This gains raid 2. So it's essentially a 3/4 that's a pretty big butt for 2. I think Partisan Insurgent is awesome. I will continue to play these guys. I absolutely love them. Like we saw earlier, Biggs Darklighter, he is a 3/4 for 3, which is pretty good. Or piloting 1, and if you put him on a fighter, it gets overwhelmed. If you put him on a transport, it gets +0/+1, and if you put him on a speeder, it gains a grit. So we've got a lot of different options, and just adding +2/+1 for 1 is already good. And considering all the other things we have in this deck, I think Biggs gives us a lot of flexibility. He's good on the ground. He's good on a vehicle. You just can't go wrong with Biggs. He's such a great guy. I think that's why he and Luke, had their thing going. And if you don't believe me, just watch that. Just watch some of that cut footage from the first Star Wars movie about Biggs and Luke. Oh my gosh, the passion between them. Cassian Andor. Okay, y'all know Cassian. He's just great. You have Red Hero, you stick Cassian in. He's got Smuggle, and when you play him when using Smuggle, he comes in ready. But he's just a 3/5 for 3 otherwise. He's just good. The fact that he's an uncommon is just mind-blowing. Cassian is just so good. you're always happy to see him. Fighters for Freedom. It's another Saboteur. It's a 3/4. When you play another red card, you may deal 1 damage to a base. It's great. We just put more direct damage on stuff. Heck yeah. It's got a pretty decent butt. It's got good stats for the cost. I think Fighters for Freedom is just great. The fact that it's a little restrictive with its ability keeps it from making it into a lot of other decks. But if we're playing mono red here, like, heck yeah, most of our cards are going to proc the ability on this, and our opponents aren't going to like that too much. One of the few non-red cards. Come on, it's Tech. He's a 2/5. Big butt. Each friendly resource gains smuggles, so we can smuggle in anything that we've resourced as long as Tech stays alive, and you can smuggle Tech in himself for 4. You're running hero. You should be running Tech ordinarily in Twin Suns, since most of the time you can only run singles of cards. Then being able to say, oh, I can resource a little bit more freely, I can get back whatever I need later on, is great, especially considering we've got a decent amount of cheap things in here. So we're not going to break the bank if we have to resource a fighter early on if we have the intention of playing Tech a few turns later. The ATDP Occupier. Yeah, I gotta kind of sound it out slow. It's a 3/4, but costs 1 less to play for each damaged ground unit, and it has Overwhelm. It's a vehicle, so you can stick a pilot on it. And y'all, if you're paying more than 1 resource for this, I think you're doing it wrong. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. I didn't mean to come up so aggro there. But this is an aggression deck, so you know. But everything should have damage. We're going to be attacking with fighters. We're going to be pinging with Mace. The ATDP should be a 3/4 with Overwhelm that costs 1 or 0. It's just, I think, fantastic with decks that want to have damaged units. And this one, certainly, we're passing damage around. And speaking of passing damage around, we got Heavy. He's a 4/4 for 4. Coordinate raid 2, so he can potentially attack for 6. But when defeated, deal 1 damage to each enemy ground unit. Oh my gosh, Heavy. You're such a cool guy. He can defeat entire droid token armies by himself. And if there's a lot of ground units out, great. They're going to get a lot of damage. Maybe you've attacked with a fighter as well. The turn that Heavy dies, 1 more damage on something else. Mace, 1 more damage on something else. It's just so much damage being sprinkled around. I love it. Of course, we got to have K2. He's a 4/4 with Overwhelm, which already is great because just getting extra damage to base. And when defeated, for each opponent, choose 1. Either deal 3 damage to that player's base or that player discards a card from their hand. So discard, like I was saying earlier, is one of those things that takes place a lot in aggression-based decks. I didn't go as hard into it here, but I do like that it is represented in K2. The fact that this happens to each opponent is incredible. So you could say you discard, you take damage, and you take damage. K2 is just fantastic. Love him. Always happy to see him. Sagarera, another double red, 4 cost, 5/4, already great stats. As an additional cost for each opponent to play an event, they must deal 2 damage to their base. This is just wonderful. So, yeah, Saw is not going to live long in a Twin Suns game, but I'll tell you what, he's going to make everybody real upset about playing events for a while while he's out there. I just love him so much. Speaking of units that I absolutely love, we're getting into some really good chonkuses here. Poe Dameron, the legendary Poe Dameron from the second set. He's a 6/6 for 5, which is already good. On attack, discard up to 3 cards from your hand. For each card discarded this way, choose a different option. Deal 2 damage to a unit or base, which is great because, again, then we can ping with Mace. Then we can finish it off with Luke. You can defeat an upgrade, which is, again, a very aggression thing to do. Just any upgrade, you can use this to defeat a pilot leader, which is awesome. Or you can make an opponent discard a card from their hand. Poe is so good. Poe is just so good. And if you attack with him and then play his black 1 the same turn, let's say you discarded all your cards to do all your cool Poe things, then you can play black 1 and then discard your hand of 0 and draw 3 more. Thanks, Poe. You're a cool dude. Okay, we got the Gorilla Attack Pod. It's a 4/6 with grit. When played, if a base has 15 or more damage on it, ready this unit. Oh, it's so good. You're probably going to be playing this ready most of the time. Do not play this if you cannot play it ready. This card is so good at making people panic in the late game. Because if you save your Luke deploy, you can just stick Luke on this thing when it comes in ready and attack for a minimum of, what is that, 7 damage? Yeah. Oh, excuse me, 8 damage. It's just incredible. Like, if you're running Red Hero in Twin Suns, I think this is an auto include, because by the time it comes into play, it should be coming into play ready, because at that point in the game, bases are going to have some damage on them. Love this. I love this so much. Kit Fisto, the Smiling Jedi, 7/6 Saboteur, already good. Coordinate on attack, you may deal 3 damage to a ground unit, also good. Of course, we would like to hope our coordinate abilities come online with Kit Fisto and with Heavy, but even if they don't, a 7/6 Saboteur is still nothing to sneeze at, y'all. He can give a ton of damage where we need damage. Oh, War Juggernaut. Okay, like, you know, Django is not the only one that gets War Juggernaut, okay? So it's a 3/7. It gets +1/+0 for each damaged unit. In Twin Suns, that could be a lot. When played, deal 1 damage to each of any number of units. You can damage everything on the board with this the turn before Mace comes out, and then does 2 more damage to everything. Yes, please. Thank you, War Juggernaut. And then it's absolutely ginormous. And then you can stick Luke on it. I'm not saying that we should be sticking Luke on all of these non-fighter things. I'm just saying it's good sometimes to have the option of saying we don't necessarily need to put him on a fighter. Yes, if we put him on a fighter, it's even more damage to stuff, which enables Mace to do damage even more. But just be flexible is all I'm saying. Like, sometimes it just makes more sense for Luke to pilot a War Juggernaut. Like, he's not such a bad pilot himself. Wild Rancor, oh my gosh. Speaking of fun, damaging everything cards, it's a 6/8 with Overwhelm. When played, deal 2 damage to each other ground unit. That does include yours, which is not the best in the world, but this thing is great at putting damage everywhere before Mace flips, and then helps finish the job. And then it's a 6/8 with Overwhelm. It's got a giant butt. It can hit a lot. Yes, please. Or Sing, Crack Shot Sniper. She's a 7/6 with Overwhelm. When an enemy ground unit attacks your base, ready this unit. She is impactful the turn that she comes out, because she definitely disincentivizes people from hitting your base. So let's keep in mind, this deck has 34 health on its base because we're running Lake Country. And at the point where we play Aura Sing, we might be ahead on health compared to other people, and we'll be getting to the point where people will be like, wait a second, that base has 4 more health than everyone else's. And so if you have Aura Sing out, you'll be like, hey, if you attack my base, I got 7/6 with Overwhelm coming at your face, buddy. I love her ability to threaten people late game. For her being an uncommon, I think she's absolutely fantastic. Definitely a great late game include in this deck. And she was actually one of my later includes before I started considering this deck basically finished. So Aura Sing, thank you so much. You're going to do great as our top end. Yeah, and of course, we got Mace himself. Come on, you can't have Mace without Mace. He's a 5/7 with Ambush. When he attacks and defeats a unit, ready him. He can just mow down armies of dudes. And if you were bringing him out after you have deployed the leader Mace, then you can probably ambush this Mace into something that's almost dead, kill it, and then ready them, and then attack a base. Again, readying units is a very aggression sort of thing. You're going to see that later on with, well, pretty much anything I could put in that would allow me to ready something I put in. So this is just our first example of that. I love this Mace unit so much. He is such a great late game closer, especially combined with, we can put a little damage on something with Luke. We can put a little damage on something with the Mace leader. And then boom, Mace unit into it, ready him, dead. Space units, we got 24. Crackshot Viewing, it's a 2/2 for 1. When played, if you control no other fighter units, deal 1 damage to this unit. So you don't want to play this unless you absolutely have to when you're playing it by itself. But a 2/2 for 1 is pretty good, y'all. So you can see here, we have a lot of 2s and 3s. This is kind of by design here because fighters are generally weenier sorts of ships, we want to have lots of them. We want to attack with them all just like shoo, 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 shoo. Because again, we're using the fighters to get damage in when we can, and then to use Luke and Mace's ability to sort of clean up other people's stuff afterwards. So it's why I feel okay about having the Alliance X-Wing in. It's kind of a very vanilla ship. It's just a hero ship, 2-3 for 2, pretty basic, but you stick a pilot on there. You use it to enable Luke. You use Luke to enable Mace. Like, the dominoes will fall because the Alliance X-Wing, the little ship that could, starts him off. Anakin's Interceptor, where the fun begins. It's a 2-3 for 2, pretty standard fighter stats. While your base has 15 or more damage on it, it is a 4-3 for 2. Yes, please give me Anakin's Interceptor. It's good early. It's good late. You stick a pilot on it. It's extra good. You use Luke to ping afterwards. You get the point. It's great. Green Squadron A-Wing, hero, red, staple, 1-3 with raid 2. Decent sized, but considering it's a 2-cost ship, it attacks for 3, enables Luke's ability. It's just a super solid ship. You see any of these 2-cost fighters, you play them, you do not resource them. Gray Squadron Wiring. Oh my gosh, I loved running this in my mono red sweaty Mace deck. In the last set, it's a 1-3. On attack, an opponent chooses a unit or base they control. You may deal 2 damage to it. So it's sort of like indirect damage, but it does get stopped by shields. But I like that it makes the opponent think about where it has to go. And also it does the 2 damage in 1 lump sum. Of course, it's also a fighter. It gets better with a pilot. All of these things. Enables Luke. So if you're playing any of these fighters, keep in the back of your mind, I could put Luke on this later if I have to get another 3 damage on attack. And if you're doing 3 damage on attack and also making someone choose something else to damage, and if you're the active player because you're the one attacking, then you get to say, we do this first and then this. It can put people in a really fun little predicament. Headhunter Squadron, it's a 1-4 for 2. It's got a big butt, but you know what? It's a fighter. It can take a decent amount of damage. You can just continue to do 1 damage per turn with this in order to ping with Luke, in order to ping with Mace. It's Death by 1,000 pings, y'all. I'm going to keep on saying it's ping, 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 ping. So I really like the Headhunter Squadron. It's not a flashy card, but you combine it with the Celestin Spacer, do 2 damage with it, has a 5 butt. You put the Determined Recruit on there, and now it's a 4-5. Like, it could be pretty decent if it stays out there. And it's an unassuming enough card that I don't think anyone's going to want to mess with it, because it'll be like, what? This is just some common draft fodder from Twilight. Pff, come on, please. Mercenary Gunship, 3-2 for 2. Action, pay 4, take control of this unit. Any player may use this ability. It's a fighter, so we can use it. And also, it's overstatted for its cost. Like, this has the same stats as Kylo's gunship. We're going to be discussing this for sure in my budget video. That, again, I will be making a video on making budget decisions in Twin Suns, and the Mercenary Gunship is a perfect example of something that is great in terms of the amount that it actually costs in real life. Like, this is like a 10-cent card, y'all. But it does 3 damage in space, and because it has this other weird ability, it impacts the board maybe even more than Kylo's TIE Silencer does, which wouldn't have gone in this deck anyway because it's a villain card. But the fact that someone can use a large amount of their resources to take this means they're not using those 4 resources on something else. So having this decision that you're forcing other people to make with the Mercenary Gunship, I think just makes it awesome in a multiplayer format. Red Squadron Y-Wing, yes please. Oh, I love this ship. It is a 1-3. It's a fighter. On attack, deal 3 indirect damage to the defending player. Oh boy, you stick Luke on this. Oh my gosh. So a 1-3 with Luke on it becomes a 5-8. On attack, deal 3 damage to a unit. On attack, deal 3 indirect damage. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you You stick Luke on this unassuming 2-cost ship and it just becomes a monster. I love this. This is such a great card in this deck. And again, wherever that damage goes, we can finish it off with Mace. We can ping it again with Luke. It's just the opportunities are endless. Got the Rokai gunship. Y'all know I love the Rokai gunship. Oh my gosh. 2-1 for 2. When defeated, deal 1 damage to a unit or base. Bam. We just do more ping damage when this thing dies. You can run it into a problem sentinel in space and then deal an additional damage to it. And it's a fighter. You can deal an additional damage to something. And then you can deal an additional damage to something. The damage just keeps adding up. I feel like a mad scientist with all those beakers in front of me, like bubbling over with damage in this deck. It's just relentless. It just comes on to everything from everywhere. Unless you could stick Luke on this if you really wanted to, which I just think is fun. The supporting ETA too. It's a 2-2 for 2. It's a fighter. And on attack, you may give a ground unit +2/+0 for this phase. Well, we've got a decent amount of ground units. Or, what if we had to play one of our R2s? If we played our R2 to the ground, then if we had the supporting ETA in space, we attack with this for 2, give R2 +2. Now R2 swinging for 3. R2 can go into something big at that point, then, because this is a fighter and we can ping that. And like, what if we attacked with benthic 2 tubes and pumped this up? It's just like, there's so many different ways that all these things sort of add up. I just love that that's how this deck works. Unlicensed Headhunter. Okay, yeah, I put this in here. Okay. I like this card a lot. It's a 3/2 Saboteur, which is great. While it's exhausted, it gains bounty heal 5 damage from your base. So it's kind of like a sentinel, which, by the way, y'all may have noticed, this deck doesn't really have sentinels. We rely on killing things and disincentivizing people through table talk because of the threat of killing things. And being able to say, if you attack me with that, all of my direct damage is going into your stuff. Is it a good strategy? I don't know. But it's won me the last game. It won me the last game I played with this. So we'll see how that goes. But this is one you have to be careful with. Because yes, it's good at what it does. But the fact that somebody gets such a big heal when they collect the bounty on it is real tough. So you just have to be careful with the unlicensed Headhunter. But, you could stick Luke on. Like, again, you stick Luke on there. You get the +4/+5. And where was I here with the unlicensed Headhunter? So, like, if you get the +4/+5, that is a 7/7 Saboteur that deals damage when it attacks. Like, might not be the worst thing in the world. Disabling Fang Fighter. Of course, we're running aggression. We hate upgrades. 3/2 in space. When played, you may defeat an upgrade. And it's a fighter. It enables Luke. It's just, it does so many things that we want from this deck. And I absolutely love that. Flanking Fang Fighter. It's a 2/3. Well, you control another fighter unit. This unit gains raid 2. Great. We have lots of other fighters. I want to attack for 4 with this. That sounds pretty good to me. And maybe we'll have the, maybe we'll have the Masasi Tactical Officer with it. Maybe we can make it attack for a little bit more. Maybe one of the other fighters will be red, so we can use benthic 2 tubes to make that fighter stronger, which then we can still attack for 4 with the Flanking Fang Fighter. Also, you can stick Luke on it. Also, it enables Luke's ping, which enables Mace's ping. I know I'm saying this over and over, but it's just like there's so many ways that these things sort of interlock with each other. And I really like that about this deck. I think it's extremely fun to play it. Okay, the Reckless Torrent. It's a 3/1. Okay, so it's real fragile. Coordinate when played. You may deal 2 damage to a friendly unit and 2 damage to an enemy unit in the same arena. Great. We just get to deal a whole lot of damage to something. Hopefully, like, things won't die, but we could have an R2 that's just down there begging for damage to soak and to be able to kill something on the ground. You play this after you attack with a fighter, then you can deal 2 damage to something, then you can deal another damage with Luke, then you can deal another damage with Mace. You might be at Mace's threshold at that point of doing the extra damage. Who knows? It's awesome. The damage just adds up so much. Red 5, Running the Trench. 3/4 for 3. On attack, you may deal 2 damage to a damaged unit. This is an awesome ship to put Luke on because you can deal damage to something on attack with it and then deal damage to something that's damaged. That is, like, if Luke is on this, you can just deal essentially 5 damage to a unit. That is bananas. Oh my gosh. I mean, I know, okay, yeah, it's Luke's ship. Fine, I know. But it's just cool that they make it like that. Even if Luke's not on it, it's fantastic because you attack with this, something's probably going to be damaged. You can deal 2 damage with the red 5. You can deal another damage with Luke's ping ability. And then guaranteed, you'll be able to get Mace's ability off, probably. It's just super cool. Red 3, we got to have red 3. We've got a lot of hero units in this deck. So red 3 is a 2/3 with raid 1. Each friendly heroism unit gains red 1. I mean, yes, there are a fair amount of things that aren't heroism, but I think there's enough that are, including our 2 leaders, that it makes it worthwhile to have red 3 in here. It just makes everything slightly better. Sabine's Masterpiece. So it's a 3/3 for 3. In space, which is fine. On attack, if you control... We're using this for literally one of these. It's only the aggression one, so we can just deal 1 damage to a unit or base on attack, which is great. You attack with Sabine's Masterpiece, deal the damage to something, then you use Luke, deal another damage to something because it's a fighter, then you use Mace, deal another damage to something because it's damaged. And then you can stick Luke on it. It's just like, I feel like all these, and then you can stick Luke on it, and then you can stick Luke on it. But again, it's good to give yourself the options in this format with as many units as possible, saying this is good to deploy our pilot leader onto. Star Wing Scout. 4/1 for 3. When defeated, if you have the initiative, draw 2 cards. So this is going to probably take damage from something else. It's extremely fragile, but oh my gosh, can it ever hit? Holy moly. I love the Star Wing Scout. I mean, also, it's a fighter, so if we are able to actually crash it into a base, we can deal that 4 damage, and then we can use Luke. It's great. Being able to draw cards, also pretty good. A very aggression thing to do. It's a little harder to get off in this format, but if it works out, awesome. Orbiting K-Wing. It's 4/4 for 4 with Saboteur. It gets past Sentinels. It's got a reasonable sized butt. It's a fighter. So, I mean, we're getting to the point. You stick Luke on this thing. Holy moly. What is this? A 4/4. So it would become an 8/9 with Saboteur. That can deal 3 damage to something on attack. Yikes. So I don't this is already like a ship that I feel is a problem almost immediately. But man, you stick Luke on this. Oh my goodness. ETA 2 Light Interceptor. It is a 3/4. It is a fighter. It has Restore 2. It's, with getting the Restore 2 is going to be nice because, like I said, we don't have any Sentinels in this deck. This will give us a little bit more survivability, along with the fact that our base has 4 extra health. But again, it's a fighter. You can attack with this, Restore 2, ping with Luke, ping with Mace. In theory, stick Luke on it the turn after it comes out, making it hit for 7. Oof. Senatorial Corvette. Not a fighter. Fighters sort of top out around this cost. It's a 5/4 Saboteur, so we can still get the damage in there. And when defeated, each opponent discards a card from their hand. Everybody has to discard a card when this thing dies. I love that. So if you're the one that kills it, then everyone else having to discard is going to get them mad at you. I love that. I think it creates difficulties around the table politically for people, which, always something I look for in Twin Suns. Tactical Heavy Bomber. It is a 3/5. On attack, deal indirect damage equal to this unit's power to the defending player. If a base is damaged this way, draw a card. Okay, y'all, it's not a fighter, but if you stick Luke on this thing, that is 7 indirect damage you are doing to the defending player on attack. Oh my goodness, that is probably guaranteed card draw. But if they put everything on their units, then next turn you deploy Mace, boom, it's probably going to kill everything. It's going to be awesome. Because remember, when Mace deploys, he does 2 damage to each damaged enemy unit. We put all that damage out with the tactical heavy bomber. If Luke's on it, then we're going to be eating good in terms of our Mace ability firing off and just damage. And also, getting to draw cards, pretty good too. Very aggression. The black 1, yeah, you may have noticed I don't have the other black 1 in here. I think it's fine, but if we're not running Poe in any sort of consistent way, meaning I think black 1 goes in a deck where Poe is one of your leaders and or in Premier. I don't think it's worth including the black 1 fighter in this deck necessarily. But, your results may vary. You want to put the other black 1 in. It is still a 2 cost. I think it's a 2/2 that gets better when it's upgraded, something like that. This could be fun to revisit this deck with Poe as one of the leaders in addition to Luke probably. But regardless, this black 1, it's a 4/4 for 6. And it's a fighter. When played and when defeated, you may discard your hand if you do draw 3 cards. So what this means is you want to have no cards in your hand by the time you play the black 1. You want that to be your last card because you want 3 new cards. So that means you do whatever you can to stick a lot of pilots on stuff, to play a lot of events, to just have this be an expensive unit and everything else be a bunch of cheapies. I think black 1 is good in that situation. It's being that it's a really situational card. You don't have to feel super bad about resourcing it when it's not going to work for you. But in terms of late game, it is a fighter that is a 4/4 if you can make the cost work. So if you stick Luke on it, it hits for 8 and then has its cool ability if someone manages to kill it. And we got the Relentless Fire Spray. It's another double red card. It's a 4/6 on attack. Ready. This unit use this ability only once each round. We've got a few other things that can ready units too. This one's a little harder to ready because it's got a bunch of power. But honestly, y'all, this is one of those ones where you stick a pilot on this thing, attack with it, and ready it, then, oh my gosh, that is so much damage. It feels good having a fire spray in a hero deck also because, quite frankly, I am so sick of seeing them in villain decks. Those Fets, they don't get all the fire sprays. We get a fire spray here. Yeah, like this thing, you stick, well, we'll get to the upgrades on there, but, pilots, you stick a twin laser turret on this. You stick a Twice the Pride on this. It just gets so out of hand. I love it. Also, you could stick Luke. You could stick Luke on it. I mean, you stick Luke on this thing, it's going to hit for 16 damage potentially. Ah! Okay, that's our space units. We got a whole ton of events too. What we got? We got attack run. Attack with 2 space units, 1 at a time. We're probably going to have a bunch of little fighters early on in this deck because remember, most of these are pretty low cost. So being able to hit with 2 of them is great because getting a little bit more action economy is good for this deck since we want to spend extra turns using our leader abilities to put extra damage onto things. So even getting a 2-for-1 with this, fantastic. Confiscate, we gotta have confiscate. Okay, this is GTL Twin Suns pilot meta. Like if somebody plays a Poe onto something and is getting all ready to ejecto-cedo that son of a gun, you're like, no. We are going to delay this for a turn so I can get something to deal with your Poe later. It's unfortunate this doesn't kill an enemy's Luke, but we do what we can. This defeats most other things, which is awesome. Daring Raid, 2 damage to a unit or base. Great. It's more direct damage. Again, I feel like I don't even need to say this at this point. Like, the dealing damage to a unit is so aggression. I mean, honestly, it's kind of just a mono red leftover from Magic, because red was traditionally the Magic the Gathering color of I deal damage to this, I deal damage to this, I deal damage to this. This is how our removal works in this color in Star Wars as well, because you may have noticed through the other decks, the removal changes depending on the colors that we're running. Blue is a lot of just defeat this thing that has this condition. Green is deal damage equal to power or capture. Yellow is return to hand or capture or exhaust. This is just real straightforward. We just do some damage to it. We just do some good old, honest to goodness damage. So if you're playing against a lurking TIE Phantom, this card's not great. But anything else, you're going to be fine, because then you can deal extra damage from Luke if you've attacked with a fighter. You can deal extra damage from Mace. It's great. System Shock. Defeat a non-leader upgrade attached to a unit. If you do, deal 1 damage to that unit. I am pretty sure that Poe leader isn't a leader upgrade, but I could be wrong on that. I would love some clarification, because I'm just thinking of this from memory right now. But in most cases, it gets rid of a pilot, it gets rid of a shield, it gets rid of an experience, so forth and so on. And then it gives you another damage, which then if you have a damage, it's damage. Then you can use Mace, yada, yada, yada. Life is good. They hate that ship. An opponent creates 2 TIE Fighter tokens and readies them, then play a vehicle unit from your hand. It costs 3 less. So essentially you're getting a 2 cost reduction on something. That's awesome. Y'all may have noticed a lot of these vehicles are inexpensive. So being able to get something out a little bit earlier, like you get out an orbiting K-Wing on your second turn, that's pretty good. Like this thing is going to do work for us. Any of these things, we get these out early, are going to be huge problems for the other people. And remember, also, they hate that ship. It just says vehicle. Well, you know what else is a vehicle? A war juggernaut. Just getting a war juggernaut out at 4 resources is really going to suck for everyone. Oh my gosh. So yeah, just keep that in mind with what you can do with some of these, because you can actually use the war juggernaut to kill the TIE fighters, since it comes out after the TIE fighters do. Love this. Okay, next up, we got Trench Run. This is a little bit of a gamble. Attack with a fighter unit. We've got plenty. For this attack, it gets +4/+0 and gains on attack. Discard 2 cards from the defending player's deck. Deal unpreventable damage equal to the difference in the discarded card's costs to that unit. So we're kind of playing the odds here. About half of somebody's deck, y'all can correct me on the exact math here. About half of somebody's deck, it's going to be things that cost 3 or less. So if we discard like a 3 cost and a 1 cost, take 2 damage to our fighter, that's like not the worst. It kind of stinks that you can't absorb this with a shield, but again, you're playing the odds. This is a gambit after all. And the fact that you can hit for so much if you manage to, well, if nobody tells you the odds, I love this card. I'm willing to do high risk, high reward. I think that's a very aggression sort of thing to do. Grenade Strike, deal 2 damage to a unit. You may deal 1 damage to another unit in the same arena, and then deal another damage. Deal another damage with Luke, deal another damage with Mace. Mace loves damaged things. This is great at spreading the damage around. Keep fighting. Ready a unit with 3 or less power. This is really good for a lot of our units. I mean, it's funny. It looks like we got Heavy on the card here, but of course Heavy's got 4 power, so Heavy's not going to keep fighting. But who is going to keep fighting in this deck? Well, pretty much any of these lower cost ones. And remember, Raid gives something extra juice when you fight, but doesn't actually increase its power. So anything with Raid is easy to ready. So if we attack, we could even ready Benthic 2 tubes, give something else more Raid. And since Raid is a keyword that has a number, those numbers stack. So any additional instances of Raid will stack in case we had a red 3 out. So you could say, oh, this thing's going to end up with raid 5 this turn, and I could still ready it and swing for a whole ton. So that's real cool. You could ready the Masase Tactical Officer to attack with a fighter for even more. There's all sorts of great ways that you could use this card. Jin Urso also has power 3. So as long as something hasn't been defeated, then she can sneak in there. Ketsu's got power 3. She could defeat another upgrade. The Partisan Insurgent definitely meets this. I love how flexible red can be in terms of being able to ready things. So just keep in mind the math involved with all of the raid. Most of the time you'll be able to find something good that you can ready with this. Power failure, defeat any number of upgrades on a unit. This is great. This is if someone pulls out one of those double shielded chump blue ships from JTL and you're just like, I can't get through that. Well, power failure gets it for you. Also, it'll defeat a pilot leader. Boom, power failure, get him. Well, unless it's Luke Skywalker as a pilot. He's immune to power failure. But anything else, oh my gosh, yes please, power failure. We got shoot down. Deal 3 damage to a space unit. If that unit is defeated this way, you may deal 2 damage to a base. That's right. Django's not the only one that gets shoot down either. We want to shoot things down. We like dealing damage to a base, but even if it's not defeated, doing 3 damage for 2 resources says that, well, and then we can use Mace to finish it off probably. Stay on target, attack with a vehicle unit. For this attack, it gets +2/+0 and gains. When this unit deals damage to a base, draw a card. This one gets wonky with indirect damage. I was seeing some people discussing this on the swupdx Discord fairly recently. I'm not still 100% sure how many cards you get to draw, but I'm pretty sure in most cases you'll get to draw something. So this will be something we may have to have a discussion about on here just to get to the bottom of this. But getting the buff, getting the extra card draw, it's very aggression. We're going to have vehicles. We're going to have our little fighters. So not only does it make a fighter stronger in a lot of circumstances, which enables Luke, which enables Mace, but we also get to draw a card. It's just, it does so many things that we want. Bloodsport, deal 2 damage to each ground unit. Mace loves this. If you play this the turn before Mace deploys, again, it is just 4 damage to every ground unit. Love that. It doesn't obviously do much to things in space, but you know, you can just resource it if everybody is dodging to space. Bold resistance, choose up to 3 units that share the same trait. Each of those units gains +2/+0 for this phase. This could be fighters. This could be rebels. This is like, I feel like this card is great in this deck in terms of it gives you some flexibility with what is out, because a lot of the fighters are also rebels. But you're probably going to use this to make those ships stronger. I mean, also, it could just be vehicles. You could just say all my vehicles are going to be +2/+0 for the phase. Heck yeah. If Luke's on it, oh my gosh. Or if you are, let's just say if you use this on a turn when you are attacking with the Relentless Fire Spray, then that gets buffed twice because it'll attack twice. Oh, so yeah, like that stuff can really add up there, which would be very unpleasant for the other person. Koyogrin turn, I have no idea if I'm saying that right. Let's call it a K turn. Ready a fighter or transport unit with 6 or less power. Great. Thanks to raid, that's a real easy one to get off. So say we can ready the fire spray a 3rd time if we absolutely have to. Attack with it, use its own ability to ready it, attack with it again, use K turn, ready it again. Ugh. So even if it's not upgraded, at that point we're looking at 12 damage. So if we can get even a pilot on there to give it a +2, then that's real good, y'all. Open fire, just 4 damage to a unit. Any unit that needs some damage, boom, damage. This has been, I think, a staple since the first set with aggression. I think this card's still great. The great thing with Mace is you can do 2 more damage with Mace if you open fire onto something, which is enough to kill a lot of leaders. Love it. Piercing shot. Defeat all shield tokens on a unit. Deal 3 damage to that unit. Awesome. So if someone's been stacking shields, honestly, like, it can be kind of worth it just to say I get rid of 1 shield and deal 3 damage to something, because then you hit it with Mace afterwards, deal more damage to it. You use Luke, more damage. Boom. Let's just keep on damaging things. Shields mean nothing to this deck. We hate upgrades so much. We like doing direct damage so much. Rallying Cry. Each friendly unit gains raid 2 this phase. This is great with our cards that ready stuff, because if it cares about how much power something has, then raid will still allow us to ready something. So if we played Rallying Cry when we had the Relentless Fire Spray out, then it technically still only has 4 power, even though it hits for 6 every time it attacks. So if we were able to attack with 2 tubes, gives it raid 2, all of a sudden it has raid 4. Now it's attacking twice. Oh my gosh. I love how much the raids can stack here, especially if maybe you've got a bunch of hero units. Maybe you got red 3 out. Maybe everything has raid 3 because red 3 is also juicing up your hero units. So great. The Chaos of War. It's another double red card. Deal damage to each player's base equal to the number of cards in that player's hand. We're going to be slightly ahead on health. I think this card's kind of good no matter what. I mean, obviously, we'd like to play this as our last card or close to our last card. But saying we're going to pay 3 to basically deal like 12 damage or more, I think it's a pretty good deal. So I think you see this card, you play it, and you feel good about it. And I mean, you're not going to make any friends at the table, but it's just going to make the game a little bit more interesting. Of course, we got aggression. I feel like this deck is so aggression-y. So again, choose 2 in any order for 4, draw a card, defeat up to 2 upgrades, ready a unit with 3 or less power, deal 4 damage to a unit. We kind of like all these things. Our deck is trying to do all this stuff. If we've run out of cards too soon and we need more because we played a bunch of cheap fighters, boom, aggression gets us a card. If there's some leader pilots that are giving us trouble, if somebody brought Poe onto something and he's been jumping around being stupid, then we can deal with that. If we just gave everything raid, then we can ready it and hit big with it because it technically doesn't have a lot of power. Or if we just need some damage on something, boom, we got 4 damage. Again, if something is shielded up, you can defeat the shields, then deal damage to it, and then deal more damage to it with Mace, deal more damage to it with Luke. You can potentially do 7 damage to just about anything with Luke and Mace and aggression. It's so much damage. I just love it. So much damage. I love this card. I love double red. Bombing Run. Choose an arena, ground, or space. Deal 3 damage to each unit in that arena. Again, it's not going to make you that many friends, but it is an awesome card to play before deploying Mace, or possibly when you have 7 resources and you're like, I'm going to deploy Mace this turn. Let's soften it up a little bit. Attack with some fighters first, maybe. It's so much damage being spread around. I love this card in this format. Bravado. If you've defeated an enemy unit this phase, this event costs 2 less to play. Ready a unit, so you can potentially ready anything for 3. So maybe we brought in a ready guerrilla attack pod and stuck Luke on it, swung with it for 8 damage, maybe killed something with it, gridded it up, and we play Bravado for hardly anything, and then we're attacking with a giant gorilla attack pod. Like, that is not nothing, y'all. Being able to ready anything with Bravado for 3 is just very good. And then last, we got unlimited power. Unlimited power! Deal 4 damage to a unit, 3 damage to a second unit, 2 damage to a third unit, 1 damage to a fourth unit. You just zap the heck out of everything. It just feels good. It gives you so many options. We're playing Twin Suns. Can find at least 4 targets. You have to do it to 4 targets. So if 3 of them belong to other people and 1 is yours, well, sorry, buddy. Your unit's taking some damage too. So this isn't like just play all willy-nilly, but I feel like a lot of the time it can be worth paying 6 resources for, especially if we're getting into the late game. Stuff has damage on it. Everybody's starting to get into standoff. Game is ending territory. Well, this is going to change things quite a bit. Love this card. Oh my gosh. Okay, we got a few upgrades. We're almost there, y'all. Hold out blaster. Attached to a non-vehicle unit. When played, you may have attached unit. Deal 1 damage to a ground unit. Great. We just get to put a little bit of damage on something. Our unit with a holdout blaster does an extra +1. So, we stick that on R2. R2 pings something. We attack with a fighter. We can ping that something again. We can use Mace. We can ping it again. Just ping, ping, ping. This enables the ping. I love it. Twice the Pride. Oh my gosh. This is one of my favorite double red cards. So it's 2. It's an upgrade that does +4/+0. When played, deal 2 damage to attached unit. I ran this in my Mace deck, which was kind of a control deck. This can be used as removal on someone else's stuff because, again, you play this, you deal damage to that unit, you ping it with Luke, you ping it with Mace, all of a sudden it's got 4 damage on it. Probably it's dead. But you can also put it on your own guys. So maybe you attack with a Relentless Fire Spray, ready it with its own ability, ready it again, stick Twice the Pride on it. Like putting Twice the Pride on the Relentless Fire Spray without being able to ready it a second time means you can still do 16 damage with it. That's awesome. Oh, I love this card. It's so much damage. Again, high risk, high reward, but I think the when it works, oh my gosh, the rewards are so good. And just being able to kill something else of somebody else's just feels really good with this too. Twin laser turret attached to a vehicle unit. Attached unit gains on attack. Deal 1 damage to each of up to 2 units in this arena. And it's a +2/+2. So we get to spread damage around. It makes our unit better. It's just everything that this deck wants to do. The more we can spread damage around, the more we can spread damage around. It's just every bit of damage helps. You stick this on a fighter. You stick this on a fighter that has Luke on it. It's just, it's so much. Oh my gosh. I love it. It's so much damage. And then lastly, the Vambrace Flamethrower attached to a non-vehicle unit. Attached unit gains on attack. You may deal 3 damage divided as you choose among enemy ground units and gives it +1/+1. Mace Windu loves this so much. I mean, you stick this on even a guy like the Partisan Insurgents, and all of a sudden you are looking at a 2/5 with Raid 2. So it hits for 4 and then distributes 3 more damage to something. That's pretty awesome. You stick it on heavy, you stick it on K2. Like, this is just, it's such a great upgrade. And then it softens everything else up for Mace to be able to kill later, for Luke to be able to kill later. It's just so much damage. Oh my gosh. I just love it. Okay. And that's it, y'all. So what y'all think? Do you want to have death by 1,000 pings? How would y'all change this deck? I really like how this turned out. I still kind of want to do the hand hate version of it with a bunch of Jedi and discard, but I just really like the fact that this one is saying we are using aggression as a template. We are sticking to that template. We're just doing tons and tons of damage. We are killing upgrades, readying our guys, drawing cards when we need them. But, we just have these 2 cool dudes with their abilities that complement each other really well. And, I look forward to playing this one some more. So, what do we got coming out next? Like I said, I'll be doing a video on making budget decisions for decks real soon. I will be doing another mini-series on redoing baby mode, easy, learn to play extreme budget decks now that everything's got to be 80 cards. So we'll say, okay, you spent the $10 or whatever on making a 50 card learn to play deck. You got some people into Twin Suns. Now let's take it up slightly, but we're still going to keep everything super affordable and hopefully easy to understand. So yeah, that's going to do it for me. Again, thanks for watching these. I love making them, love talking about Star Wars. Everyone that's been liking, subscribing, watching, you just make my day anytime I see any sort of interaction with this. So until the next one, let's do this again sometime.